Good morning, afternoon, everyone. Let me ask you a question. What if your future success wasn't determined by a grand event or a single decision, but by what you did today and tomorrow and the day after that? Success doesn't happen all at once. It isn't a lightning strike. It's a buildup, like water dripping on stone, shaping it over time. Success is built in the small moments, in the ordinary days, through the habits you choose and the mindset you maintain. You see, momentum is powerful, but it doesn't come from motivation alone. It comes from motion, daily motion, consistent effort. Success isn't a singular moment of triumph. It's the culmination of hundreds, even thousands, of ordinary days filled with deliberate effort. Too often, people fall into the trap of thinking success is a big break, a sudden opportunity, or a moment of glory that changes everything. But in reality, those big moments are only possible because of the groundwork laid long before them. Behind every overnight success, there are years of unnoticed effort, quiet discipline, and patient persistence. If you look closely at the lives of highly successful individuals, you won't find a secret formula. What you will find are habits. Habits they practice every single day without fail. These habits might seem small, even mundane. Waking up early, reading for 30 minutes, setting goals, planning their day, reviewing progress, exercising, or writing in a journal. But it's those exact behaviors, repeated over time, that create the momentum that leads to success. Each day is a brick. When you show up and do the work, even when you don't feel like it, you're laying another brick in the foundation of your future. One day doesn't seem like much. One workout, 1 hour of focused work, one sales call, one difficult decision, on their own, they may not look impressive. But compounded over weeks, months, and years, they build a fortress of achievement that others will admire, not realizing it was built one brick at a time. The reason daily action matters is because success isn't static. It's a moving target. If you're not actively working toward it, you're slipping away from it. There's no such thing as standing still. Every day, you are either reinforcing the habits that lead you forward or repeating the ones that hold you back. The good news, you get to choose which direction you go every single day. There's incredible power in understanding that your future is not decided by yesterday's failures or tomorrow's dreams, but by what you do today. Today is where momentum lives. And when you realize that, you stop waiting for the perfect time. You stop looking for shortcuts. Instead, you start stacking productive days, knowing that one great day turns into 2, then 3, then a lifestyle. This daily approach also frees you from the pressure of having to have it all figured out. You don't need to know the next 5 years of your life. You don't need to have everything go perfectly. All you need to do is win the day in front of you. When you wake up with the mindset that says, "How can I grow today?" or "What can I do today that pushes me forward?" you become unstoppable. Daily effort also builds something deeper than results. It builds character. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you're proving to yourself that you're disciplined, focused, and capable. That internal belief strengthens with each repetition. It's not just about what you're achieving externally, but who you're becoming in the process. And that version of you, the one who shows up every day regardless of how you feel, is the one that success starts to chase. So don't underestimate the day in front of you. It's not just another Monday or another Thursday. It's an opportunity, a chance to make progress, to reinforce your standards, and to do something today that your future self will thank you for. Because in the end, the people who win aren't the ones who did everything right. They're the ones who did something right every day. Momentum is not something you find. It's something you create. Many people wait for motivation to show up before they take action. They think they need to feel ready or get inspired before starting. But that's a trap. Motivation is fleeting. It's emotional. It rises and falls. If you wait for the perfect mood, you'll stay stuck. The truth is, momentum is born out of movement. You act first, and then the energy follows. Think about pushing a car that's stalled. It's hardest at the beginning. The first push takes real effort, but once the wheels start rolling, it gets easier to keep it moving. That's momentum. Your life works the same way. The first step might feel heavy. You may have resistance, fear, doubt, or hesitation. But once you push through the inertia and get going, everything starts to flow more naturally. You stop thinking so much and start doing. This is why even a small action matters. When you take action, no matter how tiny, you shift from passivity to progress. You go from standing still to moving forward. And in that motion, something powerful happens. Your brain starts to rewire itself for productivity. You begin to feel more capable, more focused, more in control. You stop overanalyzing and you start executing. And that's where momentum gains speed. The beautiful thing is, momentum doesn't care how you start. It only cares that you start. You don't have to begin with a perfect plan. You don't have to know every step. All you need is a direction and the willingness to take the first move. One action leads to the next. One task leads to the next. The more you do, the easier it becomes to keep doing. You don't need to take massive leaps. You just need to keep stepping. Momentum also acts like a force multiplier. It makes everything feel smoother, faster, and more achievable. You've probably had days where you knocked out a whole list of tasks and wondered, why can't every day feel like this? That's momentum in action. It lifts your mental state, sharpens your decisions, and fuels your creativity. You start to build trust in yourself. You begin to expect progress, and that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the flip side, inertia is dangerous. The longer you wait to act, the harder it becomes to get started. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and soon you've lost touch with your goal. That's why you must never underestimate the power of simply beginning. Even if you start slow, even if it's messy, forward motion breaks the grip of procrastination. Action kills doubt. Movement silences fear. Consistency is the key ingredient. You don't need to sprint every day, but you do need to move. A short burst of progress every day is more valuable than a rare explosion of effort once in a while. Because once momentum is in your corner, it starts to do the heavy lifting for you. It pulls you into flow, where work feels lighter, time feels faster, and progress feels natural. And here's the best part: momentum builds confidence. Every time you take action, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You're telling yourself, I show up, I do the work, I keep moving. That identity, built through repeated motion, becomes the foundation of success. Because once you're in motion, it becomes harder to stop than it is to keep going. That's when you know you've built real momentum. If you want to predict your future, look at your habits, not your goals, not your dreams, your daily behaviors. Habits are the silent engines behind every result in your life. Whether it's financial success, physical health, strong relationships, or personal growth, it all comes back to what you do consistently. Your outcomes don't lie. They're simply the reflection of your routines, played out over time. Many people set ambitious goals, but they forget that goals don't achieve themselves. It's your habits that bridge the gap between what you want and what you actually get. You can have the clearest vision and the most inspiring plan, but if your habits don't align with that vision, you'll stay stuck. It's like setting a destination in a GPS, but refusing to follow the directions. Habits are those directions. They're what get you there, step by step. What makes habits so powerful is that they operate beneath your awareness. Once formed, they don't require conscious effort. They run automatically, like background software. That's why they're either working for you or against you, even when you're not paying attention. A poor habit repeated daily can quietly erode your progress, while a positive one can steadily elevate your life without fanfare. Consider this: brushing your teeth, checking your phone, drinking coffee in the morning. These are all habits. You don't need to think about them, they just happen. Now imagine replacing just one of those reflexive actions with something growth-oriented: reading 10 pages of a book, writing down your goals, or reviewing your day. Over a year, those small changes stack up into massive results. That's the compounding power of habit. But here's the trick: habits are easy to form and easy to ignore. Skipping one workout won't make you unhealthy. Blowing one budget won't make you broke. But the danger lies in the repetition. Repeating negative habits feels harmless in the moment, but eventually they become your default behavior. The same goes for positive habits. You won't see instant transformation, but give it time, and the results become undeniable. Habits also create identity. Every time you perform a behavior, you're reinforcing the belief, "This is who I am." If you write every day, you become a writer. If you work out daily, you begin to see yourself as a healthy, disciplined person. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you're becoming through what you repeatedly do. That identity becomes a source of pride, and pride fuels consistency. That's why focusing on habits is more powerful than chasing outcomes. Outcomes are a lagging indicator of effort. Habits are the leading indicator. You can't control whether you'll be rich in 5 years, but you can control whether you save, invest, and learn each day. You can't control the success of a book, but you can control whether you sit down to write every morning. Put your energy into the system, and the outcomes take care of themselves. Ultimately, your habits are your real resume. They speak louder than your potential, louder than your plans, louder than your words. They are the clearest evidence of what matters to you. So the question to ask yourself isn't "what do I want?" It's "what am I doing daily to become the person who has it?" Because your life is always moving in the direction of your strongest habits, and you get to choose what those. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world, and how you see determines how you act. Every decision you make, every challenge you face, every opportunity you embrace or ignore, it all begins with a thought. Before action comes attitude. Before behavior comes belief. If your mindset is limited, your actions will be limited. But if your mindset is empowered, your potential becomes limitless. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being purposeful. A strong mindset isn't delusional optimism. It's grounded confidence. It's the ability to face setbacks and still move forward. It's seeing obstacles as information, not as reasons to quit. When you train your mind to look for solutions instead of excuses, your entire approach to life changes. You stop reacting and start responding with intention. One of the most powerful shifts anyone can make is moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says, "I am what I am. My abilities are set." A growth mindset says, "I can improve. I can learn. I can get better." This simple mental shift affects everything: how you handle failure, how you pursue goals, and how resilient you become under pressure. With a growth mindset, effort becomes exciting, not exhausting. Your mindset also determines how you interpret effort. People with a limited mindset often see hard work as a sign of inadequacy. "If I were really good, this wouldn't be so hard." But people with a strong mindset see hard work as a signal of progress. The more I stretch, the more I grow. That interpretation leads to persistence, and persistence leads to breakthroughs. Behavior is born from belief, and that belief is something you can build. Just like a muscle, mindset strengthens with training. Through journaling, reflection, reading, and surrounding yourself with people who stretch your thinking, you can rewire how you interpret the world. You can upgrade the internal dialogue that runs your life. You can stop letting fear be your filter and start letting purpose be your compass. That's a mental transformation, and it changes everything. The beautiful part is, once your mindset improves, your habits follow. You begin to act in alignment with your new beliefs. You stop self-sabotaging. You stop waiting for external permission. You begin to hold yourself to a higher standard, not because someone told you to, but because your mindset demands it. It's no longer about discipline alone. It becomes your identity to act in powerful ways. Mindset is especially critical when things go wrong, which they always will. When you hit setbacks, when motivation fades, when life gets heavy, that's when your mindset takes over. People with a reactive mindset fall apart or fall behind. But those with a strong internal compass adapt. They ask better questions. They don't panic. They pivot. They trust that how they respond matters more than what happens. So if you want to change your behavior, don't just look at your actions. Look at the beliefs driving them. Look at your mental patterns. Look at the story you're telling yourself about who you are and what's possible. Because in the long run, your mindset will either be the ceiling that holds you back or the fuel that propels you forward. And every day you get to decide which one it will be. Willpower is a great place to start, but a terrible thing to rely on. It's limited, it's inconsistent, and it runs out, especially when you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. That's why successful people don't depend on willpower to get things done. Instead, they build systems, structures, routines, and environments that support the behaviors they want, even when motivation is low and energy is depleted. Think of willpower like a battery. It works best when it's fully charged, but it drains quickly, especially when you're making constant decisions throughout the day. Systems, on the other hand, don't get tired. They run automatically. They eliminate the need for constant decision-making by turning good choices into default. If your morning routine is systemized, you don't waste energy deciding what to do. You just do it. That saves mental bandwidth for more important things. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with consistency is that they rely too heavily on feeling motivated. But motivation is unreliable. You can't control how you feel in the morning or how inspired you'll be after a long day. What you can control is your environment. You can remove distractions, pre-plan your actions, and design habits that trigger without thought. This is the power of systems. They remove friction and reduce the need for discipline. For example, let's say you want to eat healthier. Willpower says, resist the junk food in the pantry. Systems say, don't keep junk food in the house. One of those requires daily struggle. The other requires a single smart decision that makes the right choice easier, automatically. The less you have to fight yourself, the more energy you can direct toward meaningful progress. Systems also create reliability. They turn effort into rhythm. A writer with a writing system doesn't wait for inspiration. They have a set time, a set location, and a set process that activates creativity. An entrepreneur with a lead generation system doesn't hope for clients. They have a repeatable strategy that fills their pipeline. Systems create flow, predictability, and peace of mind. Three things willpower alone can never promise. Another major benefit of systems is that they reduce emotional decision-making. When you operate without structure, your choices are based on how you feel in the moment. But when a system is in place, the decision has already been made ahead of time. If you've committed to 30 minutes of reading every night before bed, and it's part of your routine, there's no internal debate. You just follow the system. And that builds consistency without. You don't need complex systems to get started. In fact, the best ones are simple: a calendar reminder, a morning checklist, a weekly goal review, a gym bag packed the night before, a pre-made meal plan. Systems can be as basic as a sticky note on your mirror, but they work because they reduce friction and eliminate decision fatigue. Simplicity is what makes them sustainable. Ultimately, systems create freedom. They give you structure without rigidity. They free you from the ups and downs of emotional energy and allow you to focus on execution. When you rely on systems, you don't have to feel like it to make progress. You just need to follow the process. And when your process is aligned with your goals, results become a natural byproduct of the system itself. Clarity is power. When you're clear about what you want, why you want it, and how you're going to pursue it, your actions become focused. You stop drifting and start driving. But without clarity, even the most motivated person can waste time, energy, and effort. Clarity is the compass that gives your daily habits direction. It takes vague intentions and transforms them into precise, repeatable action. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with consistency isn't laziness, it's confusion. They don't have a clear picture of their goals. They're chasing too many things at once, or changing course every other week. That scattershot approach destroys momentum. But when you simplify your focus and clarify your path, you reduce friction. You wake up each day knowing what matters most, and that knowledge creates mental peace and forward motion. Clear goals lead to clear habits. If you want to get in shape, what does that specifically mean? Is it losing 10 pounds, running a 5K, hitting the gym 4 times a week? The more detailed your vision, the easier it becomes to design habits that support it. Vague goals like be healthier or get better at business lead to vague behaviors. Specific goals create a roadmap you can follow every single day. Clarity also fuels motivation. When you know your why, your actions have meaning. You're not just grinding through a workout or writing content for the sake of it. You're building towards something that matters deeply to you. That sense of purpose acts like emotional fuel. It keeps you going when things get hard, and it helps you reconnect to your mission when your energy dips. Purpose-driven habits are much easier to sustain. Clarity is also essential for tracking progress. You can't measure what you can't define. If you're not clear on what success looks like, how will you know if you're winning? And if you don't know whether you're making progress, it's easy to lose interest. People stay consistent when they feel they're improving. Clarity gives you the ability to see those improvements, even if they're small, and that fuels further action. A clear routine simplifies decision-making. If you've mapped out what your mornings look like, or how you'll spend your work blocks, you don't waste time thinking, what should I do next? You already know that simplicity reduces stress, increases productivity, and eliminates the constant second-guessing that drains your mental energy. When your day is structured with clarity, your brain has space to focus on execution. Clarity also helps you say no. When you know what you're working toward, you can filter out distractions, decline time-wasting opportunities, and avoid the trap of chasing other people's goals. Without clarity, it's easy to get pulled in a dozen directions by trends, pressure, or comparison. But with a clear vision, you stay anchored. You're not swayed by noise. You're guided by purpose. Finally, clarity turns action into identity. The clearer you are on who you want to become, the easier it is to act like that person. If your identity is clear, I am a disciplined leader, I am a healthy person, I am a focused creator, then your daily behavior starts to align with that belief. And when your actions reflect a clear internal identity, consistency becomes second nature. Your environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. There's no neutral ground. It quietly shapes your thoughts, nudges your behavior, and influences your decisions, often without you even noticing. That's why your surroundings are one of the most underrated drivers of success. You might have strong goals and even solid habits, but if your environment is working against you, it's only a matter of time before friction slows your progress. Think about it this way. If you're trying to focus but your workspace is cluttered and noisy, you'll be distracted. If you're trying to eat clean but your kitchen is stocked with junk food, your willpower has to fight a losing battle every day. On the other hand, if your space is set up to make success easy, the right choices become automatic. Execution becomes smoother because your environment is aligned with your intentions. The most powerful environments are engineered. That means they're deliberately designed to reduce friction, remove temptation, and support your goals. If you want to read more, leave a book on your pillow. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your gear the night before. If you want to be more productive, turn off notifications and set up dedicated work blocks. Your surroundings should be a visual and emotional cue for the life you're building. But environment isn't just physical, it's also social. The people you surround yourself with matter. Energy is contagious. Mindsets spread. If you're around people who complain, procrastinate, or doubt themselves, that mindset seeps into your own thinking. But if you're surrounded by action takers, growth-minded peers, and disciplined individuals, their influence can elevate your standards almost effortlessly. You rise or fall to the level of your circle. Social environments can be upgraded the same way physical ones can. It might mean spending less time with draining people and more time with those who challenge and inspire you. It might mean joining a mastermind group, finding a mentor, or following voices that speak to your higher self. You don't have to overhaul your whole life overnight. Just start intentionally curating the influences around you. Small shifts lead to big results. Another key aspect of environment is emotional space. If your internal world is filled with chaos, guilt, or constant comparison, it will sabotage even the best habits. You need mental clarity and emotional breathing room to stay consistent. Practices like journaling, meditation, or even just quiet time away from screens can create the space needed to think clearly and act decisively. Your external environment reflects your internal environment, and both need attention. Routine is a form of environmental control too. A consistent morning ritual, a fixed time to work, or a dedicated space for creative focus creates rhythm. Rhythm builds momentum. You don't have to gear up for work every day because your environment already sets the tone. That's the beauty of designing your life. You remove guesswork and emotional resistance from the equation. Execution becomes natural, not forced. In the end, successful execution isn't just about discipline, it's about alignment. When your goals, your habits, and your environment are all pointing in the same direction, progress becomes inevitable. You don't need to push so hard, you simply flow. And when you walk into a space that supports your success, you show up differently, you think better, you act fast, you follow through more consistently. That's the silent power of environment. Success isn't a destination you arrive at one day. It's a way of living, thinking, and operating. It's not a single event or outcome, but the result of patterns repeated over time. True success is built when excellence becomes your default, not something you switch on and off. It becomes part of who you are, not just something you pursue. When your habits, mindset, systems, and values align, success becomes the natural rhythm of your life. The biggest shift happens when you stop treating success like a sprint and start treating it like a lifestyle. Sprints are short, intense, and exhausting. Lifestyles are sustainable, integrated, and enduring. If you approach success like a temporary push, just enough to hit a goal, you'll burn out or revert. But when success is woven into how you think, what you value, and how you show up every day, it no longer feels like a struggle. It feels like alignment. When success becomes a lifestyle, the line between personal and professional growth disappears. You start to see that how you do anything is how you do everything. You apply the same discipline to your relationships that you do to your business. You bring the same intentionality to your health that you bring to your finances. It's not about balance, it's about integration. You're not chasing success in one area while neglecting the rest. You're building a full spectrum life. This kind of success comes from identity, not just action. You don't just do productive things, you are a productive person. You don't just try to be disciplined, you are disciplined. That shift in identity transforms how you make decisions. You no longer rely on hype or external validation. You make choices that align with who you believe yourself to be. That inner alignment is what keeps you consistent, even when circumstances change. And here's the secret. When you embody success, it shows up everywhere. People feel it in your energy. They see it in your work. They notice it in how you speak, lead, and live. Success becomes your brand, not the kind you promote, but the kind you radiate. It's the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need to chase results, because they know they're already operating at the level required to attract them. As success becomes a lifestyle, discipline turns into desire. What once felt like hard work becomes something you want to do because it's part of who you are. You look forward to early mornings, focused work sessions, healthy meals, deep conversations, and growth-oriented challenges. You no longer need to be pushed, you're pulled by your own vision. That's the power of living in alignment with your highest self. Over time, this lifestyle becomes self-reinforcing. Every small win strengthens your identity. Every consistent day builds self-respect. Every breakthrough expands your vision. The habits you once had to force become second nature. The standards you once reached for become your new baseline. You begin to realize that success isn't something you earn once. It's something you live into every day through who you choose to be and how you choose to act. And perhaps the most liberating part is that you stop obsessing over the finish line. You fall in love with the process. The way you eat, think, move, plan, rest, and connect all reflect a deep commitment to living well. Success stops being something you hustle toward and starts being something you embody. Every day becomes a reflection of your values. Every action becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you're consciously creating. So what does this all mean for you? It means that success isn't reserved for the few. It's not about luck, talent, or sudden breakthroughs. It's about intentionality. It's about choosing every single day to think a little better, act a little wiser, and commit a little deeper to the person you are becoming. The momentum you need is already within you. It's built one thought, one action, one habit at a time. Your mindset is the ignition. Your habits are the fuel. Your systems are the engine. And your environment is the road that guides your journey. But the driver, that's you. And every day you get to decide whether you're idling, reversing, or moving forward. Don't underestimate the power of the small. One small decision today can shift the entire trajectory of your future. One new habit can unlock your potential. One clear intention can bring order to your chaos. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start and keep starting. Until success isn't just something you chase, it's something you live. Because when you turn your mindset into momentum and your momentum into lifestyle, success stops being a someday thing. It becomes your way of life.